everybody, and we are here. Thank you for sticking around. We had a little time zone mix-up. It's a challenging thing when you deal with time zones all over the world, but MK rushed home and is here with us, so thank you.
Sorry, you guys.
That's okay. So say hi. I'm assuming you can hear us now, so say hi and let us know. Just a quick, this is day 1 of the Scrapbooking Fun Summit. I am Heather Cameron, one of your co-hosts. I am the techie person, and Tracy is the creative person. We're both creative, but Tracy finds all the speakers and the scrapbookers. I am the techie creative person. Want to thank our sponsor for today, and our sponsor for today is Tracy. And this is a really good example of what Tracy can do for you. So Tracy's in Canada. She runs a virtual store. She attends crops and hosts crops and events as well. And she loves hunting down and finding really unusual things. And that is how MK came around. Is Tracy found her, loves her stuff, and can bring her stuff into Canada for you. And that's what she's done. So she loves finding, oh, there you go. MK's
right here. There you go. I didn't even have this planned.
And you can hear us. Thank you so much. So that's what Tracy loves to do. So if you're looking for, and that thing is, I can't remember what that is. That's a
distressor, edge distressor.
An edge distressor. That's very cool that MJ creates. So if you're looking for an edge distressor, check MJ's site or talk to Tracy if you're in Canada. So Tracy is our sponsor for the day. If you have the VIP package, there is a discount coupon. Tracy ships all over Canada, Sharon. So if you're looking for something, and I know that's probably not as many craft stores in Newfoundland as there might be in other places. So I don't know if Tracy already knows you, but reach out, talk to Tracy. She can help you find what you're looking for, or stock you up with something that has as smaller stores shut down. So Tracy, thank you for sponsoring us today. Thank you for being my partner in this crazy adventure that I talked you into one day.
I was going to say, thank you for asking me to do this. And I say that in a good way because she knows. And I'm like, yeah, you're going to have to kick me. But
thank you. I invited Tracy over. For those who don't know the story, I invited Tracy over for lunch one day. And I said, I think I have this idea that we could do. MK's running off, but she will be back in a second.
I'm so sorry, you guys.
MK's got a crowd full of people in her place right now.
MK's son just graduated high school yesterday. So she is managing to fit us into her schedule and do that. We're just starting, Cindy, so you got back in time. We just got back online. We were just talking through things, and now we're gonna wait for MK to come back. Her son had his graduation ceremony yesterday, and they have a party today, and family's all coming in. So it's great that she fit us in.
Heather? Why don't we all just go to MK's place? Sounds like it's going to be a good time, right?
I would love that.
There, we'll just knock on the door.
MK said she would love that. There you go. You never know. It'll be a road trip. We can do a road trip. We think she's coming back. We hope she's coming back.
I swear.
There you go. Okay.
My other son is getting his permit today, and he needed a certificate printed.
Oh, great.
It's all over the place.
That's okay. We accept you as you are. You know that.
Thanks, you guys.
Now we see a hen breaking in, so there you go. Here's a really simple question to get you started. What part of the country are you in? What part of the world are you in?
I am in Nevada in the United States.
There you go. And I don't even know. Central time, mountain time, mountain time.
Pacific time.
Pacific time. Okay, see, there you go. That's why I should have known that. So all good. Are you, another hopefully easy question. Are you a scrapbooker, a card maker, a paper enthusiast? What is it that you love to do?
Oh, I love to play with paper. I'm mostly a scrapbooker, but I do have a small card group that I do here locally because they like the smaller projects, and it's a quick gathering. And you can do a really quick technique on a small surface, and then they can imply it with however they play with the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we call it a card class. We actually call it a shoebox swap, in all honesty. So that way we don't classify it as cards, because some people do tags as well.
Huh, that's a good idea. Excellent. Question to make you think a little bit on this day that you're a little crazy. What's as you kind of, how did you, 2 questions actually. How did you get started? That's the easy question. Then I'll get to the harder one, the challenge.
I long story short, I got invited to a close to my heart gathering, and the gal that was hosting did this project where she made the pattern paper out of all the stamps, and then we cut it all up to put a layout together, and we just had this menagerie of our own handmade papers all put on this page for our photos. It was fabulous, and I was hooked ever since then. I thought, oh my gosh, here are tools I can use forever and ever and ever, and be able to create, all different color combinations, all different things. And I just invest here where paper was pretty cheap back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to do whatever I wanted. And that was the start of it back in 1997. That's a long time ago.
Just yesterday.
Right?
Just yesterday. Question is, what is one of the hardest things that you've had to conquer in your paper crafting journey?
Figuring out my style. That is the hardest part. When I first started, just like everybody else, I thought that I had to go in chronological order. I thought that I had to scrap every picture I owned. I thought that I had to have an album for this. I had to have an album for this. I had the album for this. I had to, just all these different albums. And when I finally found what I wanted to do, and that it was okay that I didn't have to follow everybody else, it's been downhill ever since. I feel like I'm busting out my albums like crazy. I don't feel behind, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Hey,
a very good answer. We're getting really good answers from this question, so it's like,
I know.
It's a very good answer, because that makes, when you said it, it made me think of, like, I'm trying to learn watercolors, and that's my biggest challenge as well, to do watercolors and find my own way. And I feel very constrained by this and that versus finding my own way to do it. So
meanwhile, I was thinking of, when you're 12, 13 and you got to get the cool jeans. Like, I'm thinking, okay, here I go, Roadrunner jeans, if anybody remembers those, or and then, you have to do all the stuff that's cool and whatnot, right? And then you go, hang on, this is my style. This is what I wear, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I was seeing, just the same we're hearing.
Well, and I would love to know in the comments if anybody feels the same way. Like, as you make cards and as you craft, are you trying to find your own style? I think that's a thought, the one to think about too, right? That's the point where you use and do what people say, and then there's a point of finding your own style. And that's often the transition to that kind of artist level as well, of doing things and being an artist. So that is a very cool answer. You're making me think. There you go. I know you don't have it with you, which you can always explain why you don't have it with you. But give us a little bit overview about what you did as your project for this.
So my project is called From Machines to Paper. And basically it's combining, I use a Cricut. So combining Cricut cuts with die cuts on a manual machine, and then only using white paper. That's all I used. Oh, Jordache jeans. I remember those too. Sorry, squirrel. But I only used white paper. I used all of my inks and paints and things like that to color and get the color that I was looking for, and the grunge that I like for my layouts. But I ended up doing Janet's pictures for this one. That's why I do not have my layout, because I already gave it to Miss Janet. And I have her layout that she made for me with her technique, in case anybody's curious. But I really wanted to show the difference between the machine and what the machine is capable of doing, and why it's just, I don't want to say important, but why, because I get a lot of, let me back up. I get a lot of questions on why do I need both machines? And, if I buy a Cricut, can it do the same thing as the die? And then I don't have to worry about the die cut, the dies, the plates, the store, because it's got a lot more to store than here's just the Cricut, right? And all you have is a mat to store. And I wanted to show that and show and tell why you might want both. Not to enable anybody at all, but there is a big difference between what you can and cannot do with both machines. So, especially being size-wise on one machine and what is the word? Intricacy on the other machine.
Cool. I see.
Okay, I'll ask. So on your layout, just quickly, I say quickly, what did you use your one machine for versus the other machine?
So on my Cricut, I used all of the large elements. So basically the full size paged elements. I've got a giant gear that I cut up into 3 different sections. I actually used I have that too. It's probably over there. But I actually used, I call it an overlay, and I reversed it in my machine to where you're supposed to keep one part, but I kept the opposite, and I used it as a stencil on my layout. And I don't have a 12 by 12 die cutter, so I wouldn't be able to do that with a manual machine. And then the manual was all the tiny little elements. I've got numbers with a grid. I have a tree that I cut out, and then I ended up backing with my own like scissors and just glued it together and backed it like a cut file.
Oh, you still there?
Yes, my daughter's asking me something, and
I thought you went quiet on us. I'm like, okay.
Busy being a mom here.
in Cora, in the pile in there somewhere. Good luck. So she was looking for the sample for me. She's being a good daughter.
Oh, there you go. Very good.
I'm sorry, you guys.
It's okay. Someone asked if they were just starting out, what would you suggest as my first machine or a die cut purchase? So should they buy a cutting machine or a die cut? And you guys may have different impressions on this one. So,
right. I personally would say a manual die cut machine to see even if that is your own, if that's something you want to bring into your like arsenal. I would definitely buy the manual, because then you can go and buy the dies you want. And only you know how much storage space you have, right? For whatever tool you're purchasing. But I would start with that, because now they make little tiny guys like this one here. Hang on. I know, nothing's ever easy. But this one is my favorite, and it's all tangled up in. I know, I'm a hot mess today.
This is why we love doing these in this way. We can take hot messes with us, right? It shows that everyone's human.
Look at how tiny this is. And almost every die that I own fits in this machine. And I say almost all because obviously the card size dies don't fit in this. But I love this because it's very small. My girlfriend made the bag. Isn't it cute? Anyways, and I can take it to crops with me. I can share it. It's super simple. It's not a lot to rotate the handle. And like I said, my dies are all in a binder, so it's just a grab and go type of thing. Where I feel like the Cricut, you need a computer, you need a space this big, plus the space for the mat to go through.
It's also
and of
more
course,
technical.
Electricity, yes. But my thing too about the Cricut is that you're buying the machine, then you have to have a device, whether it's your phone, a laptop, an iPad, a computer, whatever. You have to have a device to use it. And unless you have old one, then you have cartridges. But then you have a whole library, and a lot of people with that many choices get overwhelmed fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't know what they're looking for. They don't know what, like where do you start? What image do you go for? Where with a manual die cut machine, you have the machine, the plate has it right on. Most plates have it right on there. This one is for, a die cut. This one's for an embossing folder. This one is for this. And so it's all wrote on there perfectly for anybody, any end user to use. And then you buy what you want to use, whether it's leaves or trees or hearts or stars, and there's only the one choice. You don't have 90,000 images to pick from that Cricut offers. Or I don't know about Silhouette, you guys, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, that makes sense. It's a good answer, right? Because it depends also if you love technology, then maybe a Cricut's going to be your toy to play with, right?
Yes.
Like, I would be more attracted to a Cricut because I love playing online and doing stuff. So it just depends on what you like as well. Someone has here, can I use my scan and cut with your cuts? I think with your,
Yes, you have to use the scan and cut program and bring the SVG into that. And then, or you can use a USB if you have the scan and cut, what is that called? XD? I'm sorry. But it has a USB port on the side where you can input the cut in there. But yes, you can.
Somebody said they bought the small one and now they want a bigger one. Isn't that the whole thing about scrapbooking?
Yes.
You want more? Someone earlier said that they don't think they can use everything in their craft room before they pass away. Like, we've got too much. Another one saying is the Cricut Joy is a good starter if you want electronic cut, and it works on an app on your phone. So that's another one. But it only cuts a certain size, right?
It does.
Yes.
I don't want to get too complicated. So the person who asked the question, Melanie, says, thank you. This is good advice. I don't want to get too complicated.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's saying they received, I don't know if it was a gift, but when they retired, they received my Cricut from the office I retired from. It's super once I learned how to use the design space. And I think that's it. If you don't want to learn software, just the person above me, Tracy, then your Cricut's not necessarily going to be your favorite instrument. And if Suzette's here, she'll say something on that.
Well, I know. She'll rewatch this just to say it to me.
Yes, you have to pull it out of the box, Tracy.
Yes, crafters tend to curate big collections. They do. MJ, share a little bit about what you actually sell, because I think you have some really cool, unique things that you sell in your store.
So I sell tools, and then I also sell embellishments. I have mostly wood because I love all things nature, and so the wood really sings me a tune. I now offer several different colors of wood. I have mahogany and walnut, red oak, and birch. I think those are the main ones that I have in my shop for offer different images based off of what, like the month. So like very, in the springtime or in Halloween time and stuff like that, that tends to lead to different colors of wood for me. And so I offer a lot of images, anywhere from, playing on the beach all the way out to hiking, Halloween images, a few baby images here and there, some Winnie the Pooh maybe.
I was going to say,
what she has, just so you know, a little Winnie the Pooh. She's got Pooh Bear. She has Eeyore. She even has Eeyore, everybody. She had Piglet. She's got Kangaroo and Root. Like, she's got all of the character. Tigger, of course.
I was going to say, do you have my favorite? Tigger. My favorite.
Oh, she's got Tigger. Oh, don't you worry. Tigger's there. She has like Pooh Bear, and I'll just say with Piglet, whatnot, and then the saying. She has several sayings from the Pooh Bear movie. Sorry, like a lot, because it was hard for me to choose what to bring in for the store or for my clients, and I just went, oh my God, I want this, I want that, I want this, and I was like, I had to control myself, and they're all gone. They're all gone. So yeah, that's how much people like their product.
So we have Janet actually posting, so you could show her thing here. Her wood veneer is the best. It's thin and its pieces back for you. So Galaxy Girl is on there.
Yes,
Yeah,
the
you
wood
know what?
is the wood is adhesive backed only because of the fact that it is so thin. I have a piece here. It's just a tiny little piece, but it is super thin. And because it's thin and because I use a laser generates heat. And sometimes it'll warp it. Like this one's not a good example of it being warped, but it has a very strong adhesive on the back. So that way, when you lay it on your project, it will stay flat instead of have that little warping to it. So, and then my acrylic is also 16th inch. I don't know. I do have a piece. It's right here. So here is some of my acrylic. This one just has, it's a map and it says Wanderlust on the font, but it is also the same thickness, super thin, but there's no adhesive on the back of this because technically, to be honest, if I were to put adhesive on the back, as soon as you guys peel it off, it would come right off because it's glossy. So I just use these guys to adhere these to a page. They work perfectly and stick really well. So
excellent.
Awesome.
And the ones that you do have the adhesive on it, I was curious at the time. I was like, okay, let's see how strong it is. It's good. Just so you know, everybody, it is good. Yeah. So
make
there
sure
you go. And I use
get it
chipboard
where
and
you
wood
want.
all the time. So yeah, you do get my thumbs up.
Excellent. There's a question here. I'm a little late to the chat, but have you covered how to create layouts with the Cricut? Is that in Design Space? So your layout, did you do your layout in Design Space or you just did?
I did. I designed the entire layout. Only the larger pieces though. I did not go as far as this is what I have for my die cuts. So I just planned out where my large pieces were and what my photos were going to cover. After that, once I got all that down, the rest of it was just all designed freestyle. I didn't have a plan of where I was going to put the title. I didn't have a plan of where I was going to put all of the like clusters and pine needles all over. Now I forgot what I even made.
That's okay. Tracy, you're not alone. Somebody has abandoned their Cameo and used it 4 times, and that was enough. So you're not alone in your tech paranoia. Here's a question. Have you tried the liquid burning stuff when you design on wood?
No. I have seen it, but I have not tried it.
And then we have a fan. Somebody says, trust me, MK wood pieces are gorgeous. I have a bit of an obsession.
Thank you, Sharon.
There's nothing wrong with that obsession, Sharon, is all I'm going to say. Nothing wrong with it.
I've got
Unless you just collect and you don't use.
Yes.
Do other dies working? So I've got a sidekick and a big shot at a big discount from the family of a departed scrapbooker with a bunch of stuff. But I see dies all over the place at stores. Do other dies work in these machines?
Yes.
Yeah, you've got like Sidekick and Big Shot. They're extremely well known. If a company makes a die that doesn't work in those machines, I'm sorry, they must stop their business because they're not even trying to sell. It's like selling gas that doesn't go in a car. So yeah.
Exactly. Most machines nowadays have a gap that accepts almost anybody's dies out there. So whether you have the big, what we call chunky dies, which have the, it's like a plastic frame with a big foam in it, and then the metal sits inside it, the cutting plate. Most machines take that. Most machines take all the thin dies. Remember quick cuts back in the day? Those weird ones. So those ones will go in there. I can't think of any others, but yes, almost every machine does. And one of the things you'll want to look for when buying a die cut is that gap. If it's a super thin one, then it's mostly for embossing folders. Well, some, not the 3D ones these days, and the thinner dies, but definitely look for that gap that you have. And then you might need to play around with your shims, because my machine, I think it was only featured for 3 months, and then they decided to not make it anymore. So I had to get very creative with all of the different sandwiches to get my machine to play well with others. So
someone says the chunky dies don't fit in the Sidekick. I think
Yeah,
Janet
that
said
could be because the Sidekick is that's the smaller version. It's a newer version, and most people don't want the chunky dies anymore. They're great ones, don't get me wrong. But yeah, they're the old fashioned. So the newer ones won't fit the, older ones like that because they want you to buy the new thin ones. It's all a
that is
sales
true.
game.
Yeah.
it all is all a sales game, and then you have to find storage for your dies.
That also won't fit, like because it's also the smaller. The Sidekick is a smaller one, just like the one that MK had just shown of hers. So the chunky ones, first of all, are going to be too wide to fit in that anyways. So
Yeah.
So someone says they have a circuit and a die cut machine, and one reason they bought the die cut machine was to emboss,
mhm.
to do embossing.
Yep.
So yes, we have one person in our circle who actually put on magnetic wallpaper on her wall, and all her dies are on her wall.
I tried that, and my OCD couldn't do. So the magnet that I bought was white, and I put the die on the magnet, and then getting it off, you kind of have to slide it, and then it scratches the white.
That would, yeah. No, hers is black.
Okay.
Hers is like black paint, or I'm not even sure if it's black paint or just magnetic board. So her entire wall is her die cuts.
That's
Like
awesome.
from ceiling to floor, and she has another one down the aisle we don't see. It's like, so yeah. It
That
actually
is
kind of looks neat because it looks like purposeful wallpaper if you don't see it, like if you don't know what it is. So it's kind of a neat idea to store all these things that you guys buy. How do you store your dies? So there you go. You can magneticize your wall, or how do you guys store your dies?
I have baskets. All of my dies, it's from the Container Store, and it's called the Alpha unit, and you can build your own like design of how you want your basket. So I don't want to call them thin, but shallow based or thick based or deep based, I'm sorry. And then depending on how tall my dies are, I have different variations. So I've got a small one for my smaller dies, and then you guys remember the embossing, I think they were called embosslets, where they actually had a die inside the embossing, but it was only like this big. Anyways, I have a couple of those. And I don't want them getting lost, so they're in my thinner drawer. And then in my deeper drawers are where my actual ones lay down. And I only have 3 drawers, so once they're full, they're done. And I call them drawers because they slide in and out of a frame, but they're actually baskets.
And if you get them full, you won't buy another basket, or?
Well, I have to, get rid of some if I want to put more in there. That's my rule for my game here is this is my allotted space. If it fills up, you got to do something else if you want more.
And how does Tracy store her dies, or do you have dies, Tracy?
I have a few. Again, I don't have a ton of them either myself, but I do have some, and I just have it's a little cardboard decorative kind of box, and I keep them in there. But I'll have them on the magnetic sheets, right? That's just what I do. It's nothing too fancy.
Someone says they store theirs in a binder, so there you go. Here's another
Yeah, so
question.
and it just depends if it's your main thing that you're gonna always be into it, or I mean, it's like, oh, what, I'll get in there now. So I don't use them as often. That's all.
I had a question and it jumped on me, and now we got this one, which is the cats would take them off the wall. But I guess the question.
I don't know if you noticed, Becky, but I had a fur one just walk by here a little while ago. Tried to ignore her who's sitting here.
Die cut or emboss? Can you use a die cut or emboss if you don't have a machine at all? So do you need a machine to do embossing and die cutting, I guess is the question.
The die cutting, I would think so because of the pressure. But the embossing, I've actually seen a YouTube video many moons ago where someone wet the paper, put it in between, and then used a rolling pin. And they stood on top of it, so they had a lot of down pressure. But because they wet the paper, it fit in the embossing folder very well. So I've seen that. But as far as a die cut machine, I haven't seen anybody try to use one without a machine.
Huh. There you go. Here's another person who keeps their die cuts in in a suitcase. Then I can put my die cut machine in it and all in one place for traveling. So there you go.
Oh, wow.
So if you're going to a crop or anything, put it in a suitcase. It's a good way to use a really old suitcase.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a different one. All these ideas that people have. How do the rest of you store your dies? We have binders, we have suitcases, we have baskets, we have walls. Basically, we joke with Suzette, who's on here, I believe, that she's running out of space, so that she should put stuff on the ceiling and be able to raise it and lower it. So that you got all that space up there to store stuff. So, and we did have somebody who actually had stuff on her ceiling on one of our calls who did exactly that. So extra space for storing stuff. Now, since Janet is in the comments and she's not doing a live, can you find her project?
Yes, I can go get her project.
We can share it, Janet, since you're here and you're not doing a live with us on Saturday. So you're getting a preview of Janet's project on Saturday. I still have a manual.
We'd have two different speakers, one that makes a layout for the other, you know?
Yes. Yeah, if you didn't follow that. So Janet and MK worked together, and they did, instead of doing one for themselves, they did a layout for each other using their own techniques, which I think is brilliant. Suzette's laughing at us. There you go. Somebody has a manual embossing machine, but it's hell on my wrists. Yes, I can understand. Magnetic boards and in the package. I have a mixture of
Sorry, I left and somebody left the refrigerator door open.
Very late to the party, but I have a question about the paper stencil. Did you cut it on? So before you show that, we have a question for you. We were late to the party too, so don't worry about it.
Right.
Very late to the party, but I have a question about the paper stencil. Did you cut it with your machine? And where did you find the SVG? So the SVG files will be there. If you're asking.
So I did use my machine, and I actually made the file. So I believe it's it's either the freebie or it's the VIP.
It's the gear.
The gear is there on the instruction
gear.
I think they're asking the stencil, the one I used for the stencil.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is the wood grain.
I think that's
okay. Yeah,
the VIP. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's in the VIP. So, you were going to show.
So
our next
this
is a preview of one on Sunday. Very nice.
See, and again, I know I don't know Janet well or anything, but I know with hers, it looks like, once again, so basic, so simple. But it's like, no, do you not? Like when you watch her video, you'll be like, whoa, she did this to it, she did that. And you're just like, wow, I thought it was just a piece of paper that came that color. And it's not.
Right?
There's a lot more to it. Yes.
It's awesome.
And so.
Not sure.
Yeah, so Janet's saying she doesn't think you have both versions of it, but you'll get to see it in my presentation. Yes, so she did two versions of it, I guess. But it's very pretty. So, and it's a cool, I found there's a lot of videos for those who are listening. The titles don't tell you all the magic that's inside the video. And so if you're a card maker, watch the scrapbooking ones. If you're a scrapbooker, watch the card making ones, because there are some really, because I edit them all, there's some really good techniques throughout these videos that you might not be obvious in the title and the description. So definitely take a peek at them. You can always watch them on fast forward, however it works for you. But there are some really, and I don't even paper craft, but I get to understand all this stuff. There's some really cool crafting in there. Yes, Tracy?
In my video, so I'm going to throw a little plug here, but in my video, I actually did something, and I quoted you, MK, in it, because I went, MK taught us this little trick, and I went, I like it. So I quoted her in my video doing something that you taught us. How about that? I did. So there you go.
There are many hidden secrets in these videos, so definitely watch through them and see them. So both versions are beautiful, Janet. So that's somebody watching it from the VIPs, because the VIPs have access to all the presentations now. So they can look ahead and do that. I love the kitty cat coloring with alcohol markers. That is Alice. And she is in Australia.
Yes.
I'm trying to think. Are we talking to Alice live? I don't believe Alice is doing the live. I try to remember all these, and it's like I don't remember.
I can't see my schedule anymore. Somebody's sleeping on it.
I can. But yes, we have that's
Yeah.
Alice who does some really cool stuff for the markers and that. There are a lot of really great things in here. MK being one of them, Janet being another. So there's lots of great fun and great things in there. And if you're hearing stuff about presentations you haven't seen yet, if you don't have the VIP pass, then you get them the day of. If you have the VIP pass, they're already out and available. There's some amazing presentations in there, and there's lots of wonderful goodies in the VIP pass as well. There's over $1,500 worth of bonuses from our speakers and our sponsors added on to it all. So check it out. If you don't have it, grab it. And I lost my train of thought. See, sometimes it just goes. No faking it. It just goes. What was my train of thought? Does anybody have any other questions for MK as we chat here and think of it? MK, the little tool that Tracy showed, because I think you have some really cool tools. What tools do you have that might be for people?
I have not here.
That's okay. You can talk to it.
So this year I have introduced stitching templates. And these are fabulous, by the way. I love these. So I've got a circle one out right now. And I have a hexagon one out. And then another one will be coming out in July. So I have that. And then I also have, now these ones are ugly because they're my prototypes. But I actually don't own a decent set. But my stitching rulers, you get 2 of them. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 designs on each ruler. So 10 whole designs in a set of 2. And for those straight lines. And then, like I said, there's going to be another one of these coming out in July. I'm nervous because these sell out fast. I also have little trays for containing your goodies. So these little trays here are absolutely perfect to have on your desk, and they just hold all of your little small pieces perfectly. And one of the things I like about these is that you can paint them yourself. And they, like this one, I painted white for my Christmas layouts. So it looked good in when I do my Wood Grain and Winter series for YouTube. And then I have another one, if you want them in, pre-assembled, then it just comes brown on the outside. So it looks like a tree ring. But I love my little trays. I also, this one is an organizer, but I think it's a very important tool. But I have this organizer that I sell. And it has 3 different tiers. I know it's hard because I've got junk in it, but it's got 3 different tiers to hold your paper. Your paper's in the back here. And then your 6x6 section here, because there's a divider right in here. And then this one has divided by 3 different times. So I love this organizer.
There you go.
And then I have my edge distressor.
Which Tracy can show for you. Tracy has it.
Here. Right
Tracy
here.
has one.
There we go. We can see it a little bigger.
Yeah.
That is the best thing since sliced bread, you guys. I love it. I love what it does to my paper. I wish I knew where mine was, but
hang on.
Tracy's going to demonstrate for you.
Okay. It's I mean, there's other distressors out there, but I will admit the grip on this one. Sorry, but it's going to make the noise here, but so I hope it shows there.
Yeah.
You can see what I just did to that.
You got to go a little higher.
The paper there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It doesn't look as nice and new as it did. Now I didn't go all the way down, but just to give you an idea. Right.
MK, there's a question on your stitchers. How do you use them on the stitching?
Let me grab a layout for that. Maybe, please hold.
I did I bought the circle stencils there. She's showing us as well. Shouldn't have the hexagons yet, but
for somebody else,
them in next time.
And
So this one's just handy, and it's the hexagons. I don't have a circle layout yet. I know I'm weird. I'm sorry. But on the hexagons, you can use the dots or the outline to create chevrons, and that's what I did here. Is I traced out my my template, and I cut out the paper part right here, and then I used the dots on my template to poke holes in my paper for the stitching. So that is how you use it, is you take all these little holes and you use a poker tool. I happen to use the Tim Holtz retractable, so that way I don't have it sticking out all the time. It retracts up in there and I don't get hurt, because I am my own worst enemy. But you take your poker tool and you just poke inside every little hole to create a pattern on your paper. For I use embroidery floss, the DMC embroidery floss. And so that is what I end up doing with all of these templates. And then this one here, that is one of the designs that's in these rulers here. So it's this design right here. So
you got some cools. That looks easier. I've been using scissors, so people are liking them. And I did put MK's site in the comments. So if you're looking for this, go to her site and you can shop. And you can see all the wonderful wooden embellishments that she makes as well. And if you're in Canada, talk to Tracy, who will then work with MK to bring them in for you.
Absolutely.
Yes, the cross-border shopping is getting more complicated. So if you can work through someone like Tracy, that's a lot easier for everyone. Talk to Tracy if you want that kind of stuff. And that's how we found MK, was Tracy found her somewhere when she was looking for something, I'm sure.
That's it. I saw some layouts many times and I went, you know, I like this. So there you go.
Excellent. Does anybody have any other questions for MK? She has to go have a graduation party. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's got to go. Although this might be your moment of relaxation. You're not dealing with it.
I know, right? Although I don't know what's going outside. The refrigerator was left open. So.
Breathe.
I know, right? Whew.
Breathe. But we love having you as part of our summit. MK's also been a speaker in our Scrapbooking Fun Circle. So if you're a VIP, you get a month free in our circle and you can access MK's very cool lesson. It was bright and sunny. I remember that part. It was nice and yellow and it was a sunflower, wasn't it? Or it was a, do you remember what you did for the circle? I do, but I'm like, my brain is not. It was mixed media and a bunch of, you were using,
I think it was 3 different ways to use your oxide, your distress oxides.
Yeah, because there's one that I copied, but I'm trying to see the layout of that. That's what I'm trying to picture.
That's okay. If you're in the circle, if you're VIP, come and join us for a month. You get to try out the circle. If you're not a VIP, you're welcome to come. We'll be doing some promotion after the summit to the circle itself. The circle is Tracy's an hour and my membership. So we craft together once a week. There's always something going on. There's at least one session per week. We've made some amazing friendships in the circle. Suzette is one I see here today. And it's been a lot of fun, but all of the past presentations from our guests like MK and other ones are available to people who join the circle. So you'll have access to those as well. And yeah, I remember it was a train. Now I'm going to have to go look at it because it's going to get in my mind of what was your track.
A train.
It was, and I think I gave you guys a free cut file.
You did. And it was a train track and it was yellow. I know there was yellow and dyes and it was really bright, colorful. So there you go.
Yes.
Our memory. So thank you guys all so much for joining us live. Sorry for us being late, but we still managed to be here and there's lots of you watching. We will be back in 45 minutes with Tracy. She has to put on a different
I might be here. I'll see.
She's going to be the spotlight on it. So we will be back with Tracy. Remember, if you're on a free pass, you have 24 hours to watch the presentations. They go down at 10 a.m. Eastern North American, New York, Toronto time. It's a mouthful to get all these times right. So make sure you catch them before then or buy the VIP pass and you have access to them for at least a year, much longer. We haven't taken any of our summit presentations down and this is our 5th, but we just say at least a year because what is lifetime anyway? it's something that we don't know. So come enjoy us. Also, if you make anything from MK, if she inspired anything, please post it in the Facebook group, share it, share some love. It's always the best form of appreciation for our speakers is to see what you do with what they taught you. Excellent.
There you go.
Thank you so much, MK. Love having you here. Love having you as part of the summit. And we will be back in about an hour. In 45 minutes. Sorry, we'll be back in 45 minutes. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.